Okay, so today we are making our pumpkins and we are going to draw them with a black crayon and then paint them with some temper cake. So I need my paper. And the first thing I'm gonna do is write my name and my class code on the back. If I write it in the middle, then hopefully when we cut it out, it'll stay put, but we'll double check once it's cut out. So I'm gonna flip it over. And now it's time to decide if I want a tall pumpkin or if I want a wide pumpkin. I'm gonna do a tall pumpkin because this is a wide pumpkin. So you can see the difference once I'm done, and you'll have an example of a wide pumpkin and a tall pumpkin. So in order to make my pumpkin tall, I'm gonna stretch them out across this whole paper. I'm gonna put a tiny dot at the top where I want the top of my pumpkin to be, and a tiny dot at the bottom where I want the bottom of my pumpkin to be. So notice this is gonna be a really big pumpkin. Now, in order to make my pumpkin really wide as well, I need to take this line and stretch it out all the way across and down to this line here. So I'm gonna do a big curved line and hit this dot, and then a big curved line and hit this dot. I don't want my lines to be super skinny and super close together. We wanna make sure they curve all the way out to the edge and back to the dot. So I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna do a big curve, bring it all the way down and hit this dot. I'm gonna do the other side, big curve, all the way down and hit this dot. So I've got the body of my pumpkin. Of course, it looks a little different, but I know you've seen wonky pumpkins before, so I'm not that mad about it. I'm just gonna have a wonky pumpkin, and that is okay. I'm gonna go back over this line, make it a little darker on both sides. And we're only using a black crayon. That when we paint, our paint will not cover up our black crayon. The black crayon will push through the paint. Now at the top, I need to make sure I add a stem. I can have a short stem, or if you have enough room, you can have a long stem, but I don't have very much room. So my stem's gonna be pretty short. And I'm gonna do one curved line on one side, a matching curved line on the other side, and I'm gonna connect it with one last curved line. And then I have my stem. I probably wouldn't add the little squiggly thing that comes off the side because we are gonna cut these out and that would be a little hard to cut out, but I'm gonna add some details to my stem and just put 3 lines on the inside to look like the curves of the stem. So now I'm gonna decide what kind of jack-o'-lantern face that I'm gonna put on my pumpkin using shapes. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of a different face than this pumpkin so we can see some different things. So now to give these shapes a little more dimension, like they're 3D, and to make them look like cutouts, we're gonna add a line on the inside of each side. That'll make sense here in a second. So I'm gonna do the left side of each shape, and I'm just gonna add a curve to each shape like that. So I'm gonna start with the eyes and add a curve only on one side. So I stopped once I got to this side. That way it looks like it's going somewhere, like it's a cutout. Okay, so I've got all my cutouts filled in, and the last thing I'm gonna do before I actually cut this out is I'm gonna draw a few lines across the background of my pumpkin to make those shapes. So I'm gonna start with a curved line in the middle, and then I'm gonna do a curved line on each side, and I think that's good enough just to give him some detail. I can make those a little darker if I would like. And now you don't have to do this, but I think it makes your pumpkin look like he kind of comes to life a little bit. And I did these a little bit lighter on my wide pumpkin. So now that I'm done drawing, I'm done with my crayon. I can put it away. I need to grab my scissors and cut this out before I paint. Okay, so my pumpkin's all cut out. I'm gonna get my paint tray and my brush with my water. And the first thing I'm gonna paint is just the whole background of my pumpkin. And of course that's gonna be, so I'm gonna get my orange paint. Remember, all the water wakes up your pancakes. And I'm gonna paint the whole background of my pumpkin. And you can see my black crayon pressing through the paint. I'm gonna change colors, but I'm going into a reddish orange color. So it's not quite red, not quite orange. It's called red orange. And I don't really need to wash my brush out too much and re-wet, wake up that red orange color, and then paint the inside of my shapes. So I'm gonna change colors, wash out my paintbrush, get some green, and paint my stem green. Now it's a really watery paint, so I'm gonna get some more paint on there. And now I have my green stem, and my jack-o'-lantern is complete. I'm gonna carry him with 2 hands, making sure no paint is dripping everywhere, and put him on the drying rack. And we're all complete.